to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life.
My theory on referees is you give them the nicest changing room in the stadium.
It's just the most bizarre thing I've ever
Hear me out.
I cannot believe Gabriel Bonner-Horst.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast, Season 2, Episode 2, with myself, Dan Bardell, in new Luke Roper Aston Villa shirt, and to my right in TM Louis because his Villa shirt hasn't been delivered is Tom Julian.
I don't want to get off on this wrong foot, really.
It happened.
It's happened. I've got no kit. I've also ordered a little kit for my impending child, and they're out of stock already. So go figure. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, you do need a break. I said to Tom earlier, we're going to start with, because we ramble a bit at the start normally, I said let's get a bit more structure towards it. So let's do a Tom Julian news section. Actually, you cannot catch a break because there has been an incognito mugging.
There has
this week, hasn't there?
Yeah, I went to play football. Obviously, all your little jibes about me putting on some pounds. I was like,
not done that too much. That's a bit unfair.
I'll go for a little five-a-side session in the park, which was great. Got about 10 minutes in. My mate's car alarm.
I think you went to five-a-side session. Got 10 minutes in, had to go off.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was probably a welcome break. Mate's car got broken into. My stuff was in the front, underneath the chair, but probably not hidden quite well enough. They'd smashed in the window and nicked my bag, which is just annoying because I had my phone in. Two phones, my work laptop, and, which I only remembered this morning, my Fossil watch, which I really like.
That's a shame.
That is a shame.
That's bad.
Yeah, they have found my wallet, so they did a raid, and apparently this gang had stolen loads of stuff.
Didn't find the Fossil watch?
They haven't, as yet. No. Okay. I mean, I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope for it, but yeah, that was a disaster. And then to not have the Villa kit, and then I'm away the next couple of days. I'm not going back into work, so I'm not going to get it until at least Monday. Yeah, a bit of a disaster for me. Yeah.
If you're still awake after that long story.
I've had a good haircut though.
Well done. Yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on to Dan Bardell news. So I have
in the third person.
I have taken the heat off Tom's dead haircut a little bit because I've had a pretty sharpish trim of my own. I just fancied starting again.
Kind of looks like you've done it yourself.
No, I was done by a professional barber.
Right.
Yeah. Sky Barbers.
Define professional, all right.
Luke the barber. Well, I say professional. He's got a barbers at Sky, so he's definitely a professional. I just fancied a change. I will say it does make life very easy in the mornings, not having to do the hair, but then I suppose you're used to that.
Nowhere to hide that on the sides there, is there?
Just while we're on hair, we will go on to Aston Villa Football Club very shortly. I think it was yesterday. Someone sent the best tweet, and I should have organised this and got it up on my phone. I thought I'd screenshot it. Possibly I haven't, which is bad news. Describing Tom's hair. No, it's not there.
Oh, goodness.
Great. We're going to have to go and get that later.
Right.
So bear with us. I'll get that up later about Tom's hair. But Tom's got his notes, so let's now, 5 minutes in, get started.
Yeah, well, let's get cracking. Sorry for that brief interruption about how you had... You weren't prepared again, were you?
I'm still trying to get it now. I took a screenshot. I don't know where it's gone.
So the Villa pre-season is well and truly upon us. We've had 3 games already, Dan.
England have been knocked out as well since we last did the podcast.
England have been knocked out. The summer is well and truly over, and all focus is now on the Championship season. Once again, it's going to be a different season than last year, I fear. But we're all in and we're ready to go, and we'll talk a little bit about the kits a little bit more, but let's talk about the pre-season. So we had the Telford game on Saturday at the same time as the Kidderminster game, which were both live streamed on the Villa YouTube. 3-0 Telford win. Jonathan Codger and Conor Hourihan getting the goals there. Jonathan Codger with 2, which was pleasing to see. And then Kidderminster was a 1-1 draw. Young Harvey Nibbs getting the goal, assisted by Jack Grealish, which is always pleasing. And then last night we had Walsall 4-1 winners. Villa 4-1 winners against Walsall.
Yeah. Strong start to this podcast.
Conor Hourihan with a hat-trick and Glenn Whelan with a nice goal as well. So we're not going to talk too much about the opening 2 games because it feels like they're a long time ago. They were the same time as the England game, so I must admit I didn't get to them. But I will note the lineups, particularly for the Telford game. For the Telford game, fairly strong. With some big players in there. Jonathan Codger, Hourahan, Green, Whelan, all in that team to play Telford. Bree, Jed Steer started in goal in that game, and Chester as well. So that's a pretty strong lineup against Telford there, and a few players that might not be here come the start of the season. So how much do you read into a game like that, really?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
The early pre-season games, I don't tend to read anything into. I mean, especially when we've got two sides going out, that is purely a fitness exercise and nothing else. It's always nice to win, score a few goals. I know we didn't win that game that you're talking about. It's always nice.
No, we won that one. That was the Telford game.
The one we won. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's all about fitness at this stage. I mean, you look at the bench; it's not even an under-23s bench, is it? It's beneath that. That is a youth team bench.
Yeah.
Underneath, but it's sometimes not. I suppose it's nice for the younger players like Beddoe, Clark. I know Clark's played for the first team before in the League Cup. It's nice for them to link up with the more senior players and have a game with them, because I presume they learn stuff from experiences like that.
Totally, and you've got players like Harvey Nibbs as well, who scored.
Yeah, good goal.
Scored the equaliser against Kidderminster. We went 1-0 down, and then almost immediately. Nibbs grabbed the goal, and he's only 19 years old, and he only played I think 12 games for the under-23, so he's still got a long way to go. But because of the kind of injury crisis, if you like, at the moment, where a lot of players are nursing injuries or little injuries, he's got his chance to not only train with the first team but also play as well.
I mean, I don't want to be a negative Nelly, but I remember, I think it was Jarrell Sellers played under Tim Sherwood and scored in a pre-season friendly for the first team. Yeah. And then we never saw him play in the first team ever, and I couldn't tell you where he is now, but I know he's moved on, so it doesn't necessarily mean that much. But it's not. Whatever happens in his career now, he can look back and say, I scored for Aston Villa's first team.
Yeah. And he got himself on the bench against Walsall as well, which was, Walsall is much more indicative of probably where we're going to line up come the start of the season, I would have thought.
Oh God, I hope not.
But
I don't think he will be either, because I don't think Grealish will be there.
Well, yeah, okay.
I don't think Chester will be there.
Let's move on to the Walsall game. We're not going to talk too much. If you do want to watch the early games, they are still on the YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch those if you'd like. But the 4-1 win against Walsall, I'll go through the team real quick for you. It was a 3-5-2, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Jed Steer in goal, Chester, Elphick and Hutton, Richie Delat, right wing back, and Neil Taylor, the other wing back. Then Whelan, Lansbury, Hourahan in the middle. Jack Grealish behind Jonathan Codger up front. So you look at that side and you kind of think, as a Villa fan, if we are to start the season as we could possibly hope, that's probably as strong as it's going to get, right? Yeah,
that's a decentish team, although I wouldn't fancy that team playing in the Championship. There's a few things I think would get found out in a league game. Now, I've always been a big fan of three at the back. I think obviously because I was brought up with three at the back under Brian Little and John Gregory, so I've always thought it's a good system, and obviously then England have played it in the summer and it's worked well. I just think a back three offers you certain things that you don't get in any other formation, and obviously having the wing backs bombing on as well. But I would suggest that we don't have the personnel to play a three at the back, and we don't centre back wise, and I don't think we do wing back wise either, because I don't think we have someone who's an out and out left wing back, and I think the centre backs that play on the outside have to have a bit of pace about them. Like, I wouldn't want to say Alan Hutton, as good as he's been, I would not want to see him starting off the season at left centre back.
Would he be a better option at left wing back? Because he likes to go forward.
Yeah, he does, but I think personally in that system, I know England played with Ashley Young, who's not a left footer, but he can use his left foot. I personally think you need a left footer. There, you need a specialist.
You need Jordan Marvey.
You do need Jordan Marvey. I think that this formation, we got away with Hutton at left back, and it worked quite well, and he played above himself and played very, very well at left back last season. But I think as an actual left wing back, you're relying on them for all the width in the formation that we played yesterday, and I just don't think we have one. And Neil Taylor I know he had a bad season, he was very inconsistent, probably didn't play as much as he wanted to and lost a bit of confidence, but I don't see him as an actual wing back. He's what I'd just say is a pure full back. You can play left back, fine, he's a left back, he's done that his whole career, but as a left wing back, from what I've seen, I don't think he has enough going forward to play that role.
What did you think of Bree coming on at centre back rather than wing back? Do you think that's his preferred position?
I mean, he played centre back a couple of times in the League Cup. I mean, Bree needs some game time in his proper position. For right wing back again, Bree's probably ideal, because he's probably not at the level he needs to be defensively yet because he's young, but he's competent going forward and enjoys going forward. So I'd prefer to see him at right wing back. For me, out of all the full-backs playing in a back three, Delat would be the best one. And I think he's played centre-back in a back three before because he's got a bit of pace about him. He's decent on the ball. He reads the game well. I think on the outside of a back three, on the right-hand side, I think Delat can play that position.
That's slightly worrying then, isn't it, that we lined up the other way round in that?
I mean, I do think pre-season in the main is about fitness. So I wouldn't expect to see that team come day one for a number of reasons. I don't... He likes three at the back, doesn't he, Bruce?
Yeah, he's always wanted that.
He's played three at the back, but I think that would require some transfer activity in the incomings, and I don't think there's going to be much of that. So
yeah.
I'd suggest we cannot play that formation in the league.
So centre back, key.
If Chester stays, you can just about play it because Elphic's fine in the middle.
But Hutton,
I wouldn't want to see Hutton playing as a centre back.
Elphick played pretty well by all accounts last night. What did you think of him?
I think he was probably quite tired. I didn't really notice him, which is probably a good thing. You know what you're going to get with Elphick. His first season was he struggled a bit, but the games he played last season he was pretty good, and then he ended up going out on loan. I mean, we've not got Samba anymore. We've not got. I mean, Jednak's there at the moment, but again, in a back three, if you're asking him to play on the outside of a back three, I think you've got problems because he just hasn't got the pace to play that right. He could play in the middle of a back three, but again, I don't think Elphick can play on the outside of a back three. So I think you've got the centre back personnel, but not to play that system at the moment.
Right. And moving up into the midfield, obviously Conor Hourihane bags a hat trick, which is good, and a couple of very, very tidy goals. What did you make of him?
I thought he had a good game. I mean, Connor's one of those players that he thrives off getting in the box and having a pop from range. He loves getting in the box and he loves scoring goals, and I think he prides himself on his goal ratio, and I think he will be here. If he's here, I think he guarantees you double figures in goals. I mean, he got 11 goals last season, and I'd say he played a third of the season, sacrificed himself for the team, was playing in a more defensive role. So to get 11 goals was a very, very good return. If you played him with a bit of freedom for the whole season, I think he'd get 15 goals for you in the Championship.
I totally agree. And are you surprised that there hasn't been more interest in Hourihane, considering our
personally,
plight?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think he's one of our better players. I mean, we didn't pay that much for him, so he's someone who we'd make a profit on, which I think helps with financial fair play, if I'm understanding it the right way. I mean, I would not welcome any interest in him at all. I mean, I'm not welcoming any interest in any of our players because I think the squad needs strengthening, and by all accounts it looks like we're going to lose people more likely than buying people, but I'm sure we're going to come on to that later. I think he can play in the Premier League quite easily. He's got something about him, but to me I'm not saying he's at the level of Frank Lampard, but he's the kind of person that works hard at his game like Frank Lampard did. I mean, if he's scoring double figures in the Championship, he's that kind of player, isn't it? Yeah. And he runs his arse off. He never stops running. When he's not in the team, we tend not to do very well, and you notice that he's not there. I mean, he got criticism at stages last season, which I could never really understand. When you're getting 11 goals and contributing what he contributes, assists as well, plus the mileage he must put in per game, you'd think some fans were thinking we were Barcelona, because if he's not good enough for us, there's not many players there that are good enough for us.
Well, Oliver Walker's gone the other way here. I'm a Villa fan, but I think Hourihane has done better than Grealish while playing less games. Look at his Villa appearances and look at Jack's. Hourihane has played less and scored and assisted more. I know Jack is 4.5 years younger, but Conor is better. He goes on and has another tweet about Hourihane's goal ratio. What do you make of something like that?
I don't think you can compare the two players because they're completely different. They're completely different players. Jack's a bit more attacking than Conor. He obviously can carry the ball better than Conor can, but Conor can do things that Jack can't do, although Jack's defensive game has come on leaps and bounds. I just don't think I don't get that comparison. I don't think you can compare them, and I think they're two that link up well together when they're on the pitch together, him and Jack. So yeah, I don't really get that comparison, if I'm being honest. I don't know what you think about it.
I totally agree with you. I think they're different role-playing midfielders, and they are. It's good that they're stretching each other. I think, like you say, Jack Grealish's defensive capabilities are coming on leaps and bounds, and we saw a couple of times in the final throes of last season where he was really tracking back, became almost the last man to make a couple of really, really great tackles, and gives us so much going forward, not just in assists and goals, but he assists the assist.
Yeah, that's what
quite
Jack
a lot.
does.
And that is obviously never picked up in the stats, so I think that's interesting to watch. Whereas Hourihan is an absolute workhorse. Again, puts his body on the line. I thought potentially could have done a little bit more for the goal in the final. Rightly or wrongly, I'm not a professional footballer, so maybe
not at all.
Not even an amateur footballer, because my bag gets stolen. But yeah, Hourihan puts his heart in his sleeve, his body on the line, all of those kind of cliches, but he does them, and I love having him in the team, and I agree with your point.
Did any clothes get stolen?
That's interesting. Because
I imagine they must have looked at them and thought, nah,
there was a separate,
I'm not having them.
There was a separate bag with my clothes in, and that is untouched, which is lucky because my keys were in there.
Of course they didn't steal your clothes.
But next time I'll know not to put my phone and stuff in my unfancy clothes. Annoyingly, well, not annoyingly, it's good, but my mates...
They didn't even look through the bag?
They were so quick, mate. My mate's phone was in the glove box.
Wow.
So they literally punched through, grabbed the bag, and off on their scooters again.
No, security camera. There's a security camera.
There's a security camera on the pub opposite, but I don't think it's picked it up. But they have gone through... speed cameras and lights and stuff. This is what helped with the raid, I believe.
I mean, I shouldn't be laughing at incognito muggings.
No.
Because they're not funny, but I do find it very amusing that they've decided to leave your clothes.
Yes, yeah, my clothes not valuable enough to sell, clearly. No. Although I did take some clothes back to, some clothes that were old, to H&M. Do that, you get a £5 voucher.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm sure you'll make the most of that £5 voucher.
Hannah's got
Get yourself a new pair of shoes.
Hannah's got it. I've got a lovely pair of shoes. Anyway, let's talk about Jonathan Codger a little bit. Grabbed 2 in the first against Telford. Not so much last night. What did you make of him?
Again, I don't think he was really in the game. It wasn't really his night.
No.
To be honest, it was Hourihan's night, and Grealish had a classy game as well. But yeah, it just wasn't really Codger's night. I think I remember him blasting one over the bar, or that might have been Grealish actually, but I didn't really notice him. I wouldn't have said.
That's more worrying, isn't it? If you don't notice Elphick at the back, that's good. If you don't notice your centre forward, then you're a little bit more concerned.
I mean, maybe he was pulling defenders away and opening up space. Again, I didn't particularly notice that, but when you win 4-1, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, it's true. Jonathan Codger, obviously one of these guys that's a potential transfer target, although we haven't heard much interest in him.
I can't see it.
Do you think he will be on the team sheet come Hull?
I'd have thought so. I just can't see anyone coming in and taking a risk after he's had a couple of bad injuries. He hasn't played. I mean, he's played pretty much a full season. He hasn't had a pre-season. This is his first pre-season with Villa, and we spoke about that last week, I think, where I said that'll make a hell of a difference, and then he's got off to a flyer and scored 2. He's a 28, 29, isn't he, Codger? As well. Unless like a Stoke or West Brom were to panic near the end of the window and chuck some money at a proven Championship goal scorer, I can't see it. I just don't think anyone will take the risk after the injuries, which is good for us because we need to hang on to someone. So he's obviously a good option up front when he's fully fit, as he's shown. He's capable of getting 20 to 25 goals. You've got Connor in there capable of getting 10 to 15 as well. That's good goal output still at the club.
Mm-hmm.
But they need the players to give them the ball.
How did the game change when Keenan Davis came on? Because obviously a different type of forward target. Did you notice that much either?
I mean,
did you watch it?
It just sound like I didn't watch it, but again, I didn't really notice him. By then, it was like 4-1 and the game was over, and it was being played at a bit of a snail's pace.
Yeah.
So again, I didn't really notice him making an impact. Apologies.
No, that's fine. One thing I noticed and was a little bit disappointed with.
Did you watch it?
No. I'm going back to the Saturday game.
Sorry.
We had Sarkic on the bench for the Telford game, which I kind of thought, like you said last week, we kind of know what we've got with Mark Bunn.
A dodgy toe.
Dodgy toe. Toegate will come back.
Henry Lansbury's been all over Mark Bunn's toe again.
He has.
It's a horrible toe.
Do you know what? You actually showed me the videos this time, and it's pretty grim, isn't it?
Is that better or worse than your wife's toe?
I have to say, for the record, it's worse.
I don't know what you were going to say then. You look scared as you were saying.
I know. We're not allowed to. Apparently, we're not allowed. So, for those that don't know, I got totally busted for talking about my wife's toes last week.
Rightly so. You can't be slagging your wife off on a podcast.
I wasn't slagging her off.
I warned you about this off camera.
And yeah, so she gave me a grilling. I had to clean the shower.
Would you put a picture up on social media, which I enjoyed?
And so I'm not allowed to talk about my wife's toes.
Even though we've just spoke about them.
Yeah.
But she did. Yeah, you got caught out because at the end. She skipped to the end for some reason.
This is really weird. Not weird, Hannah. But
I'm going to be honest. Maybe a lot of people skip to the end of the podcast.
Yeah, she watched the first 20 minutes and then went to the end. That doesn't make any sense. If you don't want to watch the rest of it, just turn it off.
I'm surprised you got through the first 20 minutes. To be honest, not being a football fan.
Or
Or a Tom Julian fan.
That's true. What were we talking about before? Yeah, so Sarkic was on the bench for Telford. Would it not have been better to play him against Kidderminster or against Telford, but give him some game time rather than Mark Bunn?
I don't know. I'd imagine at the moment Steer is number one and Bunn is probably number two, just because Steer was ahead of Bunn last season, so I'm going with that.
There's going to be very limited. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So
but
better to get them some minutes, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there's going to be very limited opportunities to see Sarkic play in semi-competitive games. So I just wonder whether that would have been potentially a better option. But obviously, you're right. That is the order. It's going to be Steer, then Bunn, then Sarkic.
Yeah, I mean, this is just presuming that we're not going to sign a new goalkeeper, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think we will. And Steer's proven in the past that he can play at Championship level. He was number one for Huddersfield for I can't remember if it was half season or a whole season, and they were very fond of him. They thought he was a good goalkeeper. So we've lost Johnston, who's the better goalkeeper. I think that's a big loss. I don't know. I can't remember whether we spoke about that much last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
that is a big loss, but Steer's more than capable of stepping up. So I'd argue that's probably not as big of a problem position as it could have been.
Yeah. It's interesting. I thought it was a fun little fact. Mitch Clark, did you read this?
I don't know, because I don't know what you're going to say.
That's a fair point. On Tuesday, played for the under-23s against Coventry in the morning, and then lined up on the bench for Villa and came on for 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. Good fitness from the lad.
Yeah, straight out of the Tom Julian book of fitness. He's a good player, Mitch Clark. I like what I've seen. Him. He's one that I think, if we're playing in a back three, could easily play in a back three. Yeah. I think he could easily play there. He's a good athlete. He's got a good engine. He's got good technique, and he's a proper competitor as well. He's the one in the youth team. I mean, someone's asked a question, and I've said I'll probably talk about Mitch Clark, so I may as well do it now. I've completely forgotten who asked the question, but at least I'm covering what's being asked, even if I'm not naming people.
Do your best.
Yeah, but he's a good player. Mitch Clark. He's a leader. I think he's Wales youth captain.
Okay.
If I'm correct, so out of all the youngsters, I think he could be one of the ones that's surprised that makes an impact this season. Yeah. I think you expected me to go on a bit longer.
I was trying to find your tweet.
Pretty much said what I wanted to say.
He came on in midfield, though. Do you think that's in Bruce's thinking?
I feel like I didn't watch the game, but I did. But I don't remember him being in midfield.
He came on for Whelan.
I thought he ended up in the back three.
Did he?
That's what I thought.
Okay, so it's all moved around a little bit.
Yeah. We should probably talk about Whelan's goal.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Go on.
Glenn Whelan channeling his inner Jack Grealish. Lovely little goal from Glenn Whelan. He's one for the season, I'm sure. Yeah. We won't see any of them in the league. No, he took his goal well.
Do you think he's going to play a lot more, especially if Jednak goes? Considering his fitness, because we overplayed him, I think, in the early part of the season, and then he was clearly burnt out and then came out for quite a while. Do you think we're going to see quite a lot of Glenn Whelan this year?
At the moment, yeah. I mean, there's obviously question marks over Jedinak. A lot depends on Bjarnason, because I think Bjarnason might play more than he did last year if he's here, but he's one that I think we can get money for, so he may end up going. I mean, let's face it, this is an awful situation, because any good player, I'm saying, oh well, they could end up going, which is not the kind of situation I want Aston Villa to be in. You've just jogged my memory of who asked the question. Luke Hatfield.
Well, I've jogged your memory. It's literally in
front of you. Good eyesight though, to see it from there.
Yeah, so Luke Hatfield, which young player has the biggest impact this season if all stay healthy? Keenan Davis, Andre Green, Russian, Hepburn, Murphy, Callum O'Hare or someone else? His personal thoughts. Green set for a breakout campaign with Adoma Delat on the right and him on the left. I'd love a breakout campaign from Andre Green. We're
going to need something like that.
Yeah.
I think to compensate for the loss of Snodgrass. Adoma might move to the right and Green playing on the left, as Luke's suggested there. It really could be any of them, because the squad could be in any state come day one. We don't know. So the youth players are going to have to step up. And to be honest, as I said last week, if it's going to be not a great season, I'd rather we went with some of the youth players and blooded them and got them ready, because You could unearth a gem that actually pulls you up the league rather than playing someone that you already know what they can do just because they're safe. I'd rather we just took a bit more of a risk. And as under-23s have proved themselves at that level, people like Callum O'Hare, unless he gets a low move, which he won't get because he'll need to be part of the squad, he's playing for the under-23s isn't going to do anything for him now.
Yeah.
So play him in the league and give him some minutes. I think a lot of them are ready, and I think they've obviously got that winning mentality, which always helps. And if you combine them with some of the people that were playing last season, that although people would have you believe we had a horrendous season, and obviously the end goal was not met, so in that way it was horrendous, but there's a lot of players there that have become used to winning most weeks. So if you blood them with under-23s that are also used to winning, I mean, I'm really clutching at straws here. Maybe it won't be so bad.
Well, yeah. I find it quite a funny place to be at the moment, being a Villa fan, because there's a real range of optimism to pessimism.
I've not seen much optimism.
Well, but
rightly so.
Some people are talking themselves into looking forward to the next season, looking forward to seeing these young players. They're talking about like this potential team that played last night against Walsall. There's some good players in that, some good Championship players, and you don't need much. You do need a lot in the Championship, but if you can get onto a run, is what I'm saying. Form is massively important because games keep coming, and you need to stay fit as well. That's going to be a big factor.
It's eliminating the bad runs. We had too many bad runs last season where we went 3 or 4 or 4 or 5.
3 big runs.
You can't have 3 bad runs and go up.
Yeah,
go up automatically. I think Wolves had a couple of wobbles, possibly.
Only one, really, I think, and that was almost to the end where they were just kind of... It was a bit like Man City, when you're so close to the line and it just falls apart.
But you can't do what we did last season and go up automatically, as we've shown. So, I mean, I'll snap your hand off for 4th now.
6th?
Yeah, at the moment, I can't see it. Yeah. I want to be positive, but the state we're in, I cannot see it.
Casho76 is playing Richie right back and Hutt's left back the answer for the upcoming season. It all depends on the formation, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, and El Mohammadi, if we're short, could end up being a midfielder this season, which I wouldn't be a massive fan of because I didn't think he was as good in midfield as he was coming from defence. I mean, if we're playing wing backs, he's straight away the right wing back.
Do we lose something? Obviously, do we lose something by not having the partnership of El Mohammadi and Snodgrass?
Yeah.
Excluding Snodgrass, but does El Mohammadi lose something by not having his kind of right hand man there?
Yeah. I mean, he played better when Snodgrass was on the pitch.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
So we've lost a lot. We've lost John. I mean, John Terry's gone. You could argue that Elphick, he won't replace him to exactly the same level, but I'd say he's an adequate replacement. If we lose Chester, he's irreplaceable because we won't be getting anyone in who's better than him.
Yeah.
If we lose Jack, absolutely again irreplaceable because there'll be no one coming in who's got more ability than him. We've lost Snodgrass. I mean, West Ham have done a lot of business. But even if we wanted to, and even if he wanted to come back, it sounds like we can't even afford to sign loan players at the moment, which is a terrible situation to be in. I mean, why is it 3 weeks till the season starts?
Yeah.
And all we've done is lose people. So that's not a good situation to be in, is it?
Is there a question to be asked? For Villa, is there any way that James Chester is more valuable than Jack Grealish in terms of the formation and the need? Is there an argument to say that losing James Chester would be a bigger loss than Jack Grealish? Take out the fan in Jack Grealish.
They're both just massive because, as I've said, they're both completely irreplaceable. I mean, it sounds like we'd probably get Huth in to replace Chester. Huth sounds like someone that we're interested in, but I just see him as being a Samba replacement, to be honest.
To be fair, I went on a stag do with a guy who works in Leicester City's performance department, like he does all the stats and that kind of thing, and he said Huth is absolutely rapid.
Oh, really?
Like,
rapid?
Rapid.
I've never heard him described as that.
In terms of what you think about Robert Huth compared to the actual Robert Huth, he's a lot quicker than a lot of people give him credit.
I don't think he's a mug. He's played for Germany at international level, and they do not tolerate mugs. So he's not blessed with natural pace, but he probably gets about better than you think he will. But
I think he would add pace to our back three.
He wouldn't be able to play on the outside, I don't think.
That'd be interesting.
He's had an injury as well, hasn't he? So he's not played for a long time. So you never know how that's going to affect people. I mean, I'd imagine he's on relatively big money and wouldn't want to be coming to Villa on peanuts. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Can we afford to pay any wages? For people, I don't know. The state we've got ourselves in is terrible.
Yeah.
It's a bit embarrassing. Well, no, it is embarrassing.
It is, yeah.
That we're in this situation. And the Jack thing, that will really won't make me fall out of love with football or Villa, because whatever happens, I know I'll always watch football and I'll always go to Villa Park. But I think that would be one of the worst I've ever felt.
Selling Jack Grealish.
Yeah, because we've got a player that is a Villa lad, loves Villa, has been with us through some terrible times, and we haven't seen the best of him because of that. And now, just as he's got to the level that we know he's capable of.
I'm just saying, talk more into the
sorry.
microphone. I was trying to be subtle about it.
I don't do so.
Damn, Rolinson will tell you off.
I don't do so.
Sorry.
Like last season, he was superb. He was playing at a completely different level. Grealish, I think he was the best player in the Championship in the second half of the season. I believe he wants to stay, which again is amazing. I believe Chester wants to stay as well, which again I commend them both for. But we can't afford to keep him because we need to sell him. For us to be in that situation, I mean, what's gone on behind the scenes is just a joke, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we touched on it last week, and I think you were kind of on the Tony Jaa naivety side of things, and I still don't agree. And there's been a couple of comments, and we'll get into those a little bit later because I don't have them right in front of me. But it all comes down again to the ownership, and everything trickles down. And yes, there should be Tony Jaa shouldn't be doing those jobs. He shouldn't be paying those bills or cleaning the change rooms. He shouldn't be doing any of that. He's the owner.
I'd be surprised if he cleaned the change rooms.
But he should be having regular meetings with those people that are doing those things, and he should have a complete hold on what goes on.
I mean, I haven't got a clue what's happened. Sorry for knocking the phone off, Tom.
That's all right.
I offended you deeply.
Well, I thought it might start going do.
I don't know what has happened behind the scenes, but from what I can tell, no one comes out of it well. Really, absolutely no one behind the scenes comes out of what's happened well.
From Tony Jaa down.
From Tony down, yeah. No one comes out of it well, and the people that have since left the club, Steve Brown and Keith Warner. So I don't think anyone comes out of it smelling of roses. But the simple truth is, we'll never know what exactly has happened and who's responsible for what, because the truth will probably never come out.
Yeah. At this point, I should say, Pat Tolley, we haven't really spoken about Jack Grealish, so
we did a little bit just then.
But yeah, but just a tiny bit.
She's not happy, was she?
She sent us a text saying that I sent us a tweet saying that we talk too much about Jack Grealish and there are 11 players on a pitch, which you are correct, but Jack Grealish is pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, what do you think about Jack Grealish? Sorry, Pat. Playing so much in the pre-season. Do you think that's good or bad, or is Steve Bruce putting him more in the shop window, or are we planning for life with Jack Grealish and then just going to have to deal with it when he's not there? What's the thinking behind that?
I mean, I think he wants to play. I had a bit of a talk to Andy on Twitter earlier, because he was saying we shouldn't be playing him. We should be preparing for next season, although I know we've changed shape and that, but I still think it's mostly about fitness. But I feel sorry for Jack, because I don't think he wants to go, and as I say, he loves Villa, so he probably wants to play as much as he can, and he looks very good in that white shirt, by the way. He looks better in that white shirt than I do in this.
You're a bit disappointed, aren't you, with the arms?
No, they're fine. It's a lovely shirt. We'll come on to kit. Like, I think he probably just wants to play because he doesn't know if he'll ever get to play for his boyhood team again. It could be the last time. And I think when he's on the pitch, I think he lights it up, and I think he makes those around him better as well. So he has to keep himself fit. If he's not playing in pre-season, you don't know if that could affect his price. If he does well in pre-season, that could pull the price up, and obviously we need the money. I get what people are saying, that we should be playing people that are going to be here next season, but we don't know that Jack isn't going to be here. I'd say it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Like I believe Spurs have an interest in him, but you know what it's like. They're not going to want to pay the money that Villa want.
Yeah, Sky Sports have reported that Villa are in talks with Spurs. Obviously, Spurs I think are going to the US for a pre-season tour, and there's talk that Grealish might join up with them there. Obviously, I think as far as we're aware, the difference in asking price is still quite vast.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's going to happen before the weekend, I would suggest, at this stage. I mean, Villa have come out, or Radio WM have said today that Villa have come out and said they've had no bids, but from what I understand, there has been 2 bids and they've both been rejected. That could be false, but that's what I've That's how I understand it. There's been 2 bids from Spurs and they've both been rejected.
So that question was for Glenn Morris and Villa fans at Villa fans on Twitter, kind of talking similarly. Appreciate we need to get players fit, but if inevitably they have to be sold, should we not be using these friendlies to find the best team for next season that are likely still to be at the club?
But, I mean, other than Matt Hutton, because he obviously recently signed a new deal, any of those players could be off. Someone made a good point on Twitter saying, well, why aren't people complaining about Chester playing? Because he's just as likely to go. And I think that's a very fair point. But you could argue if there's a bid for any of them, Villa would have to think about it.
Well, there was a bid for James Chester, wasn't there? A $5 million bid from Stoke, which was swiftly rejected by all accounts. $5 million's a slap in the face.
Yeah, he's worth more than that. I mean, we paid around $8 million for him, I think, and I know he's coming up to 30, but he's still got years left in him. Apparently he's one of the best condition-wise at Villa when they do their fitness tests and all that. Chester's a machine, apparently. So I just don't want him to go. Same with Jack. I just don't want them to go. You get affinity to these players, and I mean, when we sold York and Southgate and Barry, I was upset. I mean, obviously, I've named a rabbit after James Chester.
Yeah, that's a big move.
This would be a disaster. I mean, I'm not going to change the rabbit's name.
Would you not? No. What if James Chester signed for Birmingham? I mean, hypothetically.
That's an interesting question. I wouldn't be allowed to change his name, would I?
No.
The wife wouldn't let me.
No, that's true.
So I'm stuck with that name. Whatever happens now.
What's the other one's name?
Esme.
Where's that name come from?
Just a name that we liked.
Oh, right.
I think there's a character called Esme in Peaky Blinders, possibly. Okay. I feel like it's a Birmingham name.
Is it?
Esme, and you know I'm all about Birmingham.
You are?
All about Birmingham.
A friendlier London, you told me.
You should your question. You should ask your question that you asked me.
Yeah, I will. I will do. We'll get to the end. So. The Mirror are reporting, I don't know if you've seen this from Neil Moxley in the Mirror, Aston Villa apparently need to find $9 million by the end of the month to stave off another cash crisis. It doesn't give a huge amount of detail, this story.
That's a surprise.
Which is, so take this with a little bit of pinch of salt and wait until a reputable newspaper maybe reports as well. But it is the news. Apparently more huge bills are hurtling towards the Birmingham club. The article is basically full of that. So it doesn't actually tell you anything. I don't know if they've been tipped off by somebody or not, but wait until there's more information before you go loopy.
I mean, I've learned my lesson with these things, but how do they know? Obviously, I'm not saying it's not true, because it could be true, but there's no basis to the article.
No, there's I think from a
obviously we've got bills.
From a public relations standpoint, you tend to know if there's something according to club sources or something like that, then it means that they're printing something that they've got a tip off from somebody. It might be the club cleaner, it might not be. But this article doesn't say anything at all about that. So
you're saying to me I could ring, I can't remember who Neil Moxley works for.
The Mirror.
Is it the Mirror?
Yeah.
So I could get in touch with Neil Moxley and say, I've got some information about Villa that might interest you.
Well, no, because he will have friends in the club. For example, he might know...
I think he's close to Bruce, to be honest, but right. I'm sure Bruce doesn't know that we've got a £9 million bill on its way.
But if he's close to Bruce, then he's probably close to other people in the club as well. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a relationship based on trust between journalists and people in the club.
Okay.
So, but this one, what I'm saying is this doesn't have any of that kind of, according to source, or anything like that, and it's...
Well, it's just like it's fact.
No, it's just completely... There doesn't seem to be any basis for it.
I mean, you've tried to explain that to me, and basically what I've took from is the complete opposite of what you were explaining there.
Yeah, I don't know whether you should trust that. Maybe wait until something else comes out.
I trust very few things about Villa at the moment, including the press.
Yeah, fair. Have you heard the rumours about John Terry?
Yeah, it's obscene.
Why? Because he's...
Well, no, because... I work at Sky, so that means I'm going to have to see him at work, and that's just another reminder of the failure of not going up.
So if you haven't seen this, John Terry reportedly has been offered the vacant pundit's chair left by Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry wants to concentrate on his coaching after a little bit of success
linked
with
Belgium.
Villa
as well. Thierry Henry, that's...
Really?
Yeah, it can't be true.
No, I mean, we definitely can't afford Thierry Henry.
No.
I'd play him up front.
I was going to say, let's get him in and get him playing.
According to the Daily Mail, John Terry has been offered the pundit's chair. Be interesting to hear his thoughts, but a little bit kind of... I don't know, is Jamie Carragher coming back?
Yeah.
Right, okay, interesting. a little bit defender heavy.
I was having that conversation with someone at work earlier. It's a good back three there. Neville, Carragher and Terry.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure any of them could be able to play on the outside.
Bring them all in.
There's not a lot of pace there.
Bring them all in.
Redknapp sat in front of them.
Do you think he'd be a good pundit?
He did a Monday Night Football and he was good. Last season he came in and did a Monday Night Football for one of the... I couldn't tell you what game it was.
Yeah.
He came in and did a good job and he linked up well with... I think he was on with Carragher. I think they had a good rapport together because they rotate the Monday Night Football a bit now, don't they?
Yeah.
I think he could do it. I think he'd be a good... He obviously knows a lot about football and knows a lot about the game, but if you're asking me, he should still be playing.
Yeah.
I'd love it to be for us, but obviously it's not going to happen. But he should. I'm surprised he hasn't rocked up at Derby.
The odds are still short on him joining Derby. I think they're 1-2, so Derby are definitely
Derby quite an old side, though, aren't they? They've got Huddleston. Curtis Davies must be in his 30s. Richard Keogh must be near his... They've got a mix of old and young, a bit like us last season. I'd be surprised if they would take on another older.
Well, they would, though, wouldn't they?
Oh, for John Terry, you'd say you'd have to, but they've got Curtis Davies and Keogh, so they had a good partnership last season, so is there a need to break that up for one season? Mind you, we broke up Baker and Chester, which was a good partnership.
Yeah. Do you think Frank Lampard's going to be a success?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I think Derby will go up. That's an early prediction. I mean, I'm sure we'll do a prediction show.
Yes.
On one of the podcasts. I mean, we haven't gone back and looked over mine and Matt's, but I had a quick glance through the video the other day. Jesus, I made some bad shouts at the start of the season.
Doesn't
I think
surprise
Matt's come
me.
off better than me in that video.
Last little bit of news. Anton Hooper and Dominic Revan have signed new deals.
Yeah, I don't know much about them. But
Don't know very much. Anton Hooper, an 18-year-old forward, signed a 2-year professional deal with the club, and Revan's a defender, and he's going to turn 18 in September. He's a 2000, born in 2000.
That's shocking,
isn't
That's
it?
terrible. In 2000, I was watching us lose in the FA Cup final as a 15-year-old or 14-year-old.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I was 10.
Yeah.
10, 11.
Yeah, I'm about 4 or 5 years older than you are.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The maths checks out.
The maths does check out.
If you haven't seen it yet, the Villa View have done a video on the new Aston Villa kits design.
Mathematics in that video as well from a strong.
Yeah, I noticed
lines,
that.
yeah.
That's good. Luke Roper obviously designed the kit, and Dan goes through it with a fine-tooth comb, even talking about these aerated little bits that you couldn't
standard
name.
for a football game.
Yeah.
Dolan's been absolutely hammering me for that review. 'Cause I've got this new game that I do. Every time he posts something on his Instagram story to do with fashion, I like to just make a little comment about it.
This is Chris Dolan, a friend of the
You'll
show
see him
and
soon, I'm
podcast
sure.
host.
I like to just say something. I made a great joke. I can't even remember what it was about one of his items of clothing. He was not happy with me at all. And then yesterday he posted a picture of his new Clark shoes. And I said they're disgusting, or whatever I said to him, and he gets a bit cross. And I say I only do it because I know it winds you up, because he obviously takes his fashion very serious. I mean, he'll have been watching me reviewing the kits, thinking it should have been me.
Yeah,
it should have been me. I've not finished my story yet.
Oh, I thought you'd forgotten it.
No, he in that video, to be fair, I did say about 15 times, which sits well with me. I said that about 15 times in the video, and he now, every time I post anything on Twitter or say something, or like yesterday I said, I'm watching the game as well, Chris. He was like, that sits very well with me. So he started taking the mick out of me.
How does it feel?
I mean, I give a lot out, so I'm always quite happy to take stick. You just don't really give me any.
No, it's because I'm a nice guy generally. I'm probably not quick enough. That's probably my problem.
That's true.
So yeah, you can check out the kit on YouTube. Make sure you do. Yeah,
something we didn't know about.
Yeah, if you can see that. No, set up a bit.
Oh, okay.
Set up there. Stop. I don't know if you noticed this little bit here. The EFL numbers and lettering is. It's got a partnership with the Mind charity, which is a lovely touch. It looks really smart. So if you
very well with me.
Yeah, sure. If you can turn around now.
Sorry.
If you
probably the best I've looked on the video, to be fair.
If you're interested in getting your name and number on the kit, I would hope some of that money goes to charity as well. So if you're thinking, well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I've not seen it mentioned though.
No.
I mean, I didn't even know this was going to be on there until today.
But you kind of think that Mind wouldn't pay for that they'd actually get money. I think it's about £12 to get names and numbers, so that's quite expensive. But if you think that some of it's going to charity, then maybe that makes it a little bit easier on the pocket. How does it feel? How
good?
You've now got it on, because in the video obviously you don't have it on.
No, Dudley was wearing it.
How does it feel to wear?
Nice, yeah, really nice. Thanks. Shall I stand up?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So I'm going to bend down a little bit, but yeah, it's a nice fit. I've managed to squeeze into a medium, which is always pleasing. So last year, I'll sit that back down now.
Sure.
Last year I had a player's kit last year, which was a large, and it was very snug. But then I lost a stone and got into it quite well. So I don't know. It's difficult for me to. A few people have asked about fit.
Yeah.
Like I suggest, it's not too far away from last year. You've maybe got a little bit more wiggle room than the Under Armour stuff. I would say. So this is a medium. I'm 6'1", probably a 32 waist. So yeah,
32?
Yeah, so it fits me.
Sure.
I've got some 30s as well.
No way.
I have.
You definitely don't fit into a 30.
I have.
No way.
You.
Go on, carry on.
So it's not as offensive as getting the wrong size in an Under Armour.
Yeah.
I would suggest, but I'll still be careful.
Okay.
Still be careful with your sizing.
Toby Prangnell, sorry if I got that wrong. Toby Prangnell asks, and I think this is a pretty good question, what about the durability? Does it seem like they're going to last? The 32 red logo looks like it might just be stuck on there. And I think that's a fair point. It does look a little bit like that.
But I said to you earlier, the Unibet was just stuck on there.
Yeah. I think it's the size of it makes me a little bit nervous.
I mean, I've never had any issues with washing kits. Nothing's ever peeled off any of my Villa shirts, and I've had one every year since I was 7.
But you don't do your own washing?
No, I do my own washing sometimes, not every time.
Most of the time.
But football shirts, I said to you, if you use the Daniel Bardell method to washing your football shirt, and I'm dreading someone now washing the shirt and it's completely not working. If you wash it on 30, turn it inside out, nothing should peel. I've never had a peel.
I just want, for all the Chris Dolans out there, that's the second time you've mentioned your own name in the third person.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's just a method that I've used over the
You've coined.
I've used over the years. I don't think I made it up, but it's just something I've used. I've never had any problems.
Peter Reed.
I've got the shirt.
Yeah. Low blow. I almost ordered it to your house.
You should. Well, that might not have helped.
No, that's
surely wouldn't have come. So you should, if you'd have said,
yeah.
I ordered mine the day before you, didn't I?
Yeah.
I must have just been the last batch that got delivered on the day.
Yeah.
And I've had you had a name and number on the back. Do you have a name and number on the back of yours?
No.
I mean, you've probably seen it on the video, but I thought I'd have, because I didn't know one of the reasons was I didn't know who on earth was going to be at Villa come the start of the season. I just felt it was a nice touch to have Hugo.
Yeah, that is really nice.
On the back.
Do you know what? Before you said that, and I was like, that's a really good idea, but I was thinking about Southgate.
Yeah, I've seen a few people have done that, actually.
Yeah, I'm scared that might be a fad, because he's going to bomb out of the Euros. And
but there's good value for money, because I've spent £12 to get five Ekiog. Southgate's a longer name, so you get more for your money.
That's true.
If you get Southgate on the back.
I haven't got anything on the back.
I just don't. For me, I know I'm 32, nearly 33. So people would say, why are you getting names on the back of your football shirt anyway? But a shirt's not complete for me unless it's got name and number on the back. Yeah, whenever I have a shirt with no name or number, I don't like it.
I'm definitely too old to have my own name on the back.
Yeah, we've got past that.
Yeah.
We have got past that.
And I've never really, I don't think I've ever had a shirt with a player's name on.
Haven't you?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, we've got you used to shop in the sales though for football shirts, as you told me earlier.
You weren't supposed to tell my mum.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I told you. My mum said don't tell Dad.
I didn't know. It's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah,
my mum.
It's not actually. It's just a story. It's a typical Tom Julian story.
We used to do a lot of our shopping at M&M Direct. It was like a little catalogue. It was brilliant. So good.
Yeah? So you used to get sale football shirts from there?
It's not necessarily football shirts, but trainers and other gear.
I mean, you've never moved away from that kind of... Do you still get your stuff from there now?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
I mean, my mum's taught me well, and it lives long. Peter Reed, when I initially saw them both, the kits...
The Peter Reed?
Not the Peter Reed.
Spelled differently.
Yeah. My instant thoughts were favouring the white away shirt, but now I'm very much split on what to get, and now you're the opposite, aren't you?
Yeah. You see, obviously, if you've watched the video, you'll know we did it with both home and away and the goalkeepers. I'd urge you to watch that video if you've got any thought, if you like struggling for which one to buy in any of the features. I'd watch that video.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you. Dan Rolinson.
Yeah.
Amazing camera work.
Agreed.
Should be working at a football club, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you want me to carry on with Peter Reed, or you got more to say?
No, I was going to say, you said I did the opposite, didn't I? So
sorry.
I ordered the home one last week or the week before. I can't remember when I ordered it. And then I got there in the club shop on Monday and did this video, and I've obviously seen it on the player since as well. The white shirt is beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's another shirt to come.
Yes, the third shirt, the long-awaited third shirt. Do we have a date on when we're getting that?
I think it's getting announced in the next week or so.
Next week. That's a few people have asked that one, so that's for you. Peter Reed continues, both are superb and probably the best, in my view, for a long, long time. Can't wait for our first game. Really think it's going to be down to our youth, and why not? Could work out to be a surprisingly forced, brilliant situation. That's kind of what I was talking about with the optimism up here, down to the...
I mean, I'm a big fan of it,
yeah.
and I like it, but I can't see that myself. I just can't see it myself. myself.
Stuart Chin Strong, which I like that name, very good. I was very negative about the kits when I first heard that Luke was doing it, but was so wrong about these. I'm waiting for the third kit now. That's interesting because most people were pretty excited when Luke Roper announced it. I mean, I was excited that. Yeah, I was excited when they announced Luke Roper. I think before that they said they were going to do a special announcement.
That was concerning.
I was very ambivalent, but when I heard it was Luke Roper, I was. And been very well received, and rightly so.
I mean, first off, Luke Roper is a proper Villa fan. He's such a nice bloke, like a lovely guy. Really like him.
Yeah.
And you can just tell that a fan has made the shirts. Like, it's obvious. Someone I think it was Leighton Castle, put a picture up of when we last had a shirt without blue sleeves. It was the old NTL one that was all claret. And really, you look back at it and it's awful. It's tried to do what Luke's done and not succeeded. This is one of the best shirts we've ever had, I think, in my opinion. I believe the players really like the shirts as well. I think it sits very well with me that a Villa fan is doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's different and it's innovative, and you don't often associate that with Villa behind the scenes. I think a valuable lesson can be learned because the club's had a bit of a gamble. I mean, it's probably saved the club some money.
Yeah.
So they've saved money, but they've got a better result and a more personalised result. I mean, it's not for me, but if you've seen that you've got the options, if you buy your shirt on the Luke Roper store or you go into the Birmingham store, you can get different style numbers on the back. So like camo numbers, I think you can get pink numbers on the back of on the white shirt and stuff. It's just those little personal touches that add to it, and it's different. No one else is doing something like that. So I think there's valuable lessons to be learnt from Villa, because I think we play things too safe sometimes, and we somehow end up coming a cropper. But we've took a risk here, and I think the commercial team deserves credit because I think it's been a brilliant move.
Yeah, I love the neckline, and also the badge really stands out.
Yeah,
it literally stands out, which
is great.
Yeah,
rubber material, rubberised.
James Allen raises the question of price, which I think is a fair one. Great looking kits, and you touched on it in the video that a lot of thought and detail has gone into them. The only negative for me is the price should be about £40 to £45 given the current climate. I mean, it's not too far off that. It's £50.
No, I said to myself, I thought it might be a little bit cheaper, but the training wear, like there's some lovely jackets, and you like one of the jackets. They were £110 last year, and they're £50.
£50,
this year. So in other ways, we're saving. The shirt may not be as cheap as people might want, but the other stuff is fair. And again, lovely range. That claret walkout jacket is excellent.
Yeah. James also says would like to see a return to the round badge. You bothered about the round badge?
To be honest, I was, but now the badge has got this new material. I'm quite happy with this badge.
You're in. You're all in on the badge.
Yeah. It's a big feature.
Yeah.
It's a change.
It sits well with you, doesn't it?
Sits well with you.
The JL Gamer, hopefully the end results of this new kit is promotion. See? The optimism is flying
high.
There. There's another one here that I need to get to.
You're not prepared.
I have. It's here.
Well, why are you flicking through them? Apologies for the 5-minute silence on the Villa View podcast.
Did you ever find that tweet that you were going to...
I've got a better way of getting it when we get back into the tweets.
Sure. Well, we best get it up now because we're reaching the end. Ian Lane, if we can get someone with money coming in as a minority investor, can we say they'll foot the financial fair play costs as long as they toe the line, then we can nail promotion out of the Championship. I am a poor old soul, as you can tell from this pile of rubbish.
He's really gone for the toe theme there.
He went for it, didn't he? Went for it in a big way.
I mean, if you're going to do something, commit to it fully like that.
All right, I've got one for you here, Dan. Alex Langley, I think you're being hoodwinked if you believe what Dr. Tony has come out with. No plan B. Fallout between people running the club. Jar possibly overstating his financial power. Abuse of the support with the new away system.
I don't like the away system. We didn't talk about that last week. I don't like it. I don't think it should have been changed.
Yeah.
And it says in there that the fan consultation group and the away consultation group were consulted, and I don't think they were.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. I mean, but to be honest, I could have bought an away membership and it would have benefited me. I probably only went to 4 or 5 aways last season, but I think the people that went, and we will feed this back in the fans consultation group when it happens, because that's the right and correct place to do it. You're penalising people who spent hard-earned money to go to 23, 24, no, not 24, to go to 22, 23 away games last season, and there is people like that, and you're asking them then to spend another £25 to get a membership, and then someone else can spend £40 without having any away history and get tickets before them. I don't know why they've done that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I think it's poor, and we will bring it up with the club.
Yeah, for sure. What do you... There's been a few people on Twitter coming on the Villa View and on the comments saying that we're not harsh enough on various things. I kind of think we are. I think we gave Keith Winus a good pasting last week. I've said a lot about Tony Jaa and whether it's naivety. The honest answer is we haven't spoken to Tony Jaa, so you don't actually know what he's going to say. But I've been very critical of Tony Jaa. You've called him out for being naive. I think there's... how do you respond to the kind of people that say that you're not being harsh enough, essentially?
People last season were saying that I wasn't criticising things, but actually, if you listen to the podcast, I do criticise things. I just don't do it in a ranty and ravey way, and I'll never, ever do that. I'm as miserable about what's happened to Villa in this summer as anyone is. What's happened is awful, and we should never, ever be in this position. But I still don't fully understand how we've got ourselves into this position, so I find it difficult to comment on stuff like finances, because I was never any good at maths at school anyway, and I just don't know the full story. I don't understand the full ramifications of financial fair play. I know we've obviously got to make up some money now. A few people have asked actually about, well, surely we're better off just failing financial fair play and keeping Grealish, but I don't know that.
Yeah.
But for people that want me to criticise, I will never rant and rave, and I never have done.
I'm going to try and find out the answer to that, because I don't know the answer either.
That's more your realm.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think I can.
I'll take the football, you take the finances.
Okay, I think I can find out that answer. Some people saying, why don't we just forget about financial fair play, take the hit, take the points or whatever, and work it out. I'm sure you can't do that, and there'll be big problems. But I will try and find out.
Bournemouth failed it 3 or 4 seasons ago, and I've only just got fined now. But obviously, getting fined £4 million when you're in the Premier League is nothing.
Yeah,
we don't know how long we're going to be down in this league.
Yeah,
for the situation we've got ourselves in is unforgivable. It is unforgivable what's happened, and I don't think it doesn't look like there's a way out of it. The only way out of it is getting investment, and Dr. Tony will have to work hard to build bridges back with some fans if he's still there and we do get reinvestment, or we get taken over.
Do you think he'll ever do anything like sitting with Jaa and stuff like that again, just because of the way that things are handled right now?
If he's still here and we find ourselves top of the league at Christmas, then obviously he probably would do stuff like that.
That'd be interesting.
I would suggest. I'm sad about what's happened, because I believed in this regime, and I thought we were on the right track. And as I've said, Keith Winus said there was a plan B. I can't believe that there wasn't, but the fact is that there wasn't a plan B, and that's terrible.
Yeah,
that's no good.
All right, let's finish with a few tweets. Jamie,
I found the hair one, by the way.
Have you? Do you want to finish with that, or do you want to jump in now?
Oh no, I've lost it again. I've got it. I can't remember. So Rob Prince said no digs at Julian's hair this week with that army cut down.
Very fair. Very fair.
To be fair, I've had a suspect haircut. I would agree. It's still not the worst in hair. Rob Prince has said, poor Tom, his hair isn't bad, it's just there, unloved on his head. Tom's problem is that his company is a couple of old boys trying to look like teens, which I believe is aimed at me and Christopher Dolan.
Yeah, that is true.
That is just perfect. It's just there, unloved on his head. Is the perfect description.
It's so true.
So apt, and you know it as well.
Yeah, I just don't care about my hair.
We were talking in the car, like, it's not a horror haircut. It's just nothing. It is just nothingness. Yeah, no effort gone into it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't need it, and I don't care about it, and that's the funny side. But yeah, it is just there, and it is unloved as well.
He said his wife's got weird toes as well.
Oh, interesting.
On each foot, her toe next to the big toe are longer than the big toe. It must be a Villa fan thing, attracted to girls with weird feet.
Yeah, I must admit that wasn't the thing that pulled me in.
No.
As much as the wonderful personality and the beauty, of course. All right, let's move on. Jamie Richards.
You better hope she's listening to the end this week.
Yeah. If McCormack were to get himself back to match fitness, would you still agree with Bruce's decision to leave him out of the squad, or would you be willing to give him another go? I think you and I are on different sides of this.
He'll never play for us while Bruce is there, I don't think.
Yeah, you've said that before. I mean, yeah, why not? We're paying him, so why not? If he deserves the credit, but there's obviously something gone on with McCormack that means he's not being picked.
I mean, people go on about Richards and say, "Oh, he's bleeding the club dry," and I mean, I've got a tinge of sympathy for him, but he's not a bad egg, is he? There's obviously a reason why he's allowed in the dressing room and allowed to train with the first team, and McCormack's not.
Yeah, so, I agree. I mean, I don't have any
team spirit. He's the
Richards.
king, in my opinion. That comes above anything else.
Yeah, I just wish they both go. Do you know what? I don't care anymore, and just leave. But they won't do that.
Well, because who's going to take Mark Richards? He hasn't played since October 2016.
Yeah, I mean, just leave football. You got enough money. And just retire into the sunset. But he doesn't have to.
If you were getting paid...
No, I understand.
For just going in and playing football every day, so make good money, and if you were to move, you'd get less money.
No,
I'd still not play football. What would you do?
Well, I just wouldn't play football anymore. I'd go and do something else. But
we gave him the contract.
Totally.
I get what people say, but if you give someone a contract on big money...
I totally agree. This is Villa's fault.
I'm sure he'd love to play, to be honest, as well.
But he's injured all the time. Like, I don't know, because I'm not in that situation, but I'd like to think that I would just walk away from football and do it. Maybe he can't do that. Maybe he's taking the money and investing it or giving it to charity. I don't know. But
I mean, let's say I'm playing for West Brom and they're paying me 35 grand a week to do nothing.
True.
I'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't I?
Carlo Cudicini did it for ages.
Did he?
He just sat on the bench, didn't he?
At Chelsea?
And at Spurs.
Yeah, good keeper though, Carlo was.
Yeah, wasted.
He's an innovator because he was the first one to do that sliced kick.
Right.
Cudicini, first goalkeeper to do that. I used to call it the Cudicini when I was younger.
Is that a fact?
I just remember it from my childhood because we were.
No,
he's the first goalkeeper in England to do it.
Right. Okay.
No one else ever used to do it. Now they all do it.
Okay. Could Henry Lansbury be a ready-made replacement for Jack Grealish?
Again, they're different players. Lansbury couldn't carry the ball like Grealish can. He's got good passing range. Lansbury, there's a good footballer there. We just haven't seen his best. At Villa, for whatever reason, fitness not being picked.
Yeah.
Bruce preferring others. It just hasn't worked out for Lansbury so far. But he's a good player there.
Yeah.
I'd love him to come and smash it next season.
Yeah. Peter Luckhurst was with the question about taking the fine and the points deduction and whatnot. So we're going to try and answer that next one, Peter, but remind me if I forget, because I probably will. Ian F., question for the pod. If you had a time machine and could change one result, would you change England winning the semi-final or Villa winning the playoff final?
Playoff all day.
That's what I said.
I really loved the World Cup and I love England. I love my country, but I love Villa more.
We'll get another chance to do that in 4 years' time. Won't we?
We'll probably win the Euros in 2 years, I would think.
Sure.
So that'd be just as good as winning the World Cup. And Jack Grealish will be playing for England as well, so it'll mean more.
No doubt. Matt Collins, I sense Dan is reluctant to blame Jar too much. We talked about all of that kind of stuff.
There's one about what Bruce said, actually. Somewhere, someone asked what we made of Bruce's comments in the interview where he didn't really take any responsibility.
Yeah. I think Bruce is... I don't think Bruce is a very good interviewer, a very good interviewee rather, because he says stuff that just grates on people. Like, for example,
I don't think he does it on purpose.
No, but that's what I mean. He's just not very good at it. So, like, for example, he says we're in a financial pickle. Stuff like that. It just really underplays the immense financial catastrophe that we're actually in. And it's not so much, I don't think, that he doesn't take any responsibility for not going up. He does talk about the fact that we haven't gone up and that's a problem and stuff. But he just doesn't say, like, that's my fault. And I don't... This is going to sound like...
On the football side of things, he has to carry... I think he has to carry a lot of the can because he's the manager and that's just the way things are.
Right. So here, if the question was from a neutral, not AVTV, and the question was, is it your fault that Aston Villa haven't gone up? I think he would say yes. To a degree, he would say yes. I'm the manager, and the buck stops with me. Yeah, but I think he would take that responsibility. It was an Aston Villa interview, so the questions are slightly more in favour.
There was a Sky one as well on the same day. It was a very different tone actually to the one that was on Villa's media, where people were saying he shouldn't be just coming out and saying we're going to have to sell Jack Grealish, but I think it's a well-known fact. I don't think he was revealing anything that we didn't already know. I mean, I think the bottom line is with Bruce, I know there's a lot of people that don't want him here anymore. I'd say it's probably a 50-50 split with Bruce. I think it's at the point where we probably can't afford to sack him because we can't afford to pay him £3 million or whatever it would cost a year's salary to get rid of him. And he probably doesn't want to go because it's the biggest job he's ever had, and he probably does still believe that he can get us up this season. So it's kind of like he's here. He's going to be here because we haven't got. Even if he does badly, I'd say he's going to be here because we're not going to be able to afford to pay him off. We can't afford to add another $3 million onto what we already need to make.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine we're still paying Di Matteo. I can't remember how many years his contract was, but I think it was 3.
Yeah.
So we're probably still paying Di Matteo, and we've been paying managers that don't work for Aston Villa Football Club for the last 5-6 years because we've been through so many. So sooner or later we need some sustainability at the club.
Would you answer a question that starts, "My questions never get answered," or do you think that's just a way to get in?
Is that what's his face? Villa Mad?
No, it's not.
Oh.
See, that's what I thought. But it's Villa till we die.
Oh, maybe he changed his username or something.
No.
Okay.
Do you want to answer it?
Yeah.
Okay. If Chester and Grealish leave, hang on. If Chester and Grealish leave Villa, or I should when they leave.
I mean, I'm starting to see why the questions don't get answered.
Right, I'm going to read this verbatim. My questions never get answered, but if Chester and Grealish leave Villa, or I should when they leave, who should be our captain for the season? I'm not sure where the I comes into that.
I mean, let's just go with who do we think should be captain if Chester and Grealish leave? Someone Connor was mentioned as a potential captain earlier. I think he's the kind of one that I think his game would go up a gear if he was captain. I think you've got some players like Tommy Elphick. I don't think it matters whether he's captain because he's still going to be a vocal presence. But if you give Chester the captaincy, for example, he's a bit quieter. I think it brings something out of him. I think it would bring something. I mean, Connor's quite vocal through the games as well, but I think it would bring something more out of him. So I consider him. Obviously, there's Elphick, but I hope to God that Chester's still here. I'd say Hutton's probably.
I was going to say Hutton.
A big candidate for the captaincy. I mean, it was him and Chester who were the captains of the two sides, wasn't it? So it's probably going to be Alan Hutton.
Interesting move. All right, good place to finish. We've gone over our hour.
We're not limited, Tom. I mean, we can go for 2 hours if we really wanted to.
Well, we can't.
I know you've got to go home, but I'm just saying there's no limit. Just because we've gone over an hour, you don't have to feel bad about it.
Hour's a nice place to stop, though, isn't it?
I mean, it makes sense. It's logical. It's fitting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sits well with you?
Sits well with me, and we 100% won't be letting Tom Julian do the outro because last week's was an absolute disaster. Car crash podcasting.
It was
I would call it. It was written all over your face. How bad it was. It was written all over my face.
I could see it going off the road, so I just let it.
Yeah? No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. It was just a disaster. So I'll be taking the outro this week. Thank you ever so much for listening and watching the podcast this week. I'm watching the Villa View in general. Stop staring at me like that, trying to put me off.
I'm not.
You asked for some iTunes reviews last week. I don't think we got a single one.
Oh, I didn't check.
So we'll ask for iTunes reviews again if you could, because I think that's going to help elevate the podcast on iTunes. So if you do enjoy the podcast, please can you leave us a review on iTunes, because we don't have as many as we would like. Also, comment below on this podcast if you've been watching via YouTube, and we'll try and get involved with as many of the comments as we can. Give the video an old like as well if you have enjoyed it, and if you're not subscribed to the Villa View with your post notifications on YouTube, if you could do that again really helps the channel grow. If you've not watched the kit video that we filmed earlier on in the week, then go back and look at that, because I think there is some useful information surrounding these lovely Luke Roper shirts in there. Tom and I will be back next week for another podcast. Again, Tom won't be allowed to do the outro, so don't worry about that. Sorry, absolutely throwing you under the bus. Hopefully you've enjoyed. So I meant to say, actually, is there anything you'd like us to do in the podcast? If you've got any ideas of something that we don't do, we're open to any ideas, because let's face it, we don't come up with much ourselves, and I come here with absolutely nothing. So if you want to give us any ideas, that'd be great. Thanks again for watching. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.